Hi everybody, it's Carolyn and welcome to Carolyn's Caregiving Connection. Our program is on live every week and it is sponsored by the Lantern of Chagrin Valley, one of the assisted living communities part of Lantern Lifestyle just outside Cleveland, Ohio. We thank you for joining in this week, and remember that our other two communities, Lantern of Madison and Lantern of Saybrook in Ashtabula County, also offer weekly programs. They're always recorded. They're always available on Facebook, on our Facebook pages. They're available on demand when you want to see them. They're posted to LinkedIn. And for the last couple of months, we've been posting them also on YouTube. So we hope you'll join us either live or on demand whenever you like. And if you do like the program, we ask you to help us reach others by hitting the like button, the share button, as well as adding some comments or questions if you have them. Now, I am the Director of Marketing and Sales at the Lantern of Chagrin Valley. And of course, we're all dealing in our communities with the effects of COVID. Right now, unfortunately, we know that COVID is not going away. And we expect it to be something we're going to be dealing with definitely through the holidays and possibly into 2021. So one of the things that you may be hearing about or even reading about in some of the media is what is called caregiver stress. And caregiver stress can also be called caregiver fatigue. So caregiver fatigue is when we might be dealing with the physical ramifications of having stress, that sense of feeling overwhelmed. I can't even stop thinking about all the things I need to do. I'm not sleeping well. I can't turn it off. I hear that a lot. So if you're feeling that you are dealing with caregiver fatigue, then this program may be, for you. So tonight we're going to be talking about combating caregiver stress during COVID. So as you know, as I said, it's not going to go anywhere, COVID, if you will. And so we have to adapt our own ways of being able to deal with it. And one of the things that we have done in some of our past programs here is we've developed some top 10 lists. And that's what we're doing tonight. So what are some of the top 10 items that we can do to help ourselves or to help others that we know who may be caregivers to someone else? Well, the first one is remember that you can only do what you can do. You can't do more than that. There are only 24 hours in any day. Now, our needs may change, the demands on our time may change, but the amount of time that we have available is never more than 24 hours. So that means that there may be situations where you're going to have to put some limits on those demands for your own time. But remember, you can only do what you can do. You can't do anything more than that. So as we approach winter and the holidays, and thinking ahead to that, there are some things we can think about doing to help kind of cut back, if you will. You may be a caregiver who's taking care of someone in your own home. You may be caring for someone in their home. You may still have children in school at young ages, even grandchildren. You may have kids in high school and college. You might still be working and perhaps working from home. You may have just been called back to your regular job. So a lot of things could be demanding on our time. And this may be a year when we think ahead to the winter and the holidays that you will not be able to do everything as you did in past years. And truthfully, I don't think anyone expects it. I think people expect us right now, because we're all in the same boat, to take some steps back, just as we've done through the summer months, if you will. So here's some of the things that we can do as we're making those decisions. Number one, remember that concept of want versus need. Right now, you have to really focus on the need. You need to have your house in order. You need to have food in the house and bills paid and utilities taken care of. You don't need to go shopping. You don't need to have all the social events that we associate with the holidays, that kind of thing. Your person that you're caring for, they need to have their care provided. They need to have the supplies that are needed. Perhaps you have some outside support and help, but they don't need to have you being responsible for them to have connections with outside world other than what you're able to handle. They don't need you to be able to do things that are not want versus need. And sometimes in the family situation, if you are the primary caregiver, and often that is a daughter or a daughter-in-law, there may be others in the family that are asking questions like why. Why can't mom or dad do this? Why can't you do this? Why didn't you do this? So there are more questions sometimes than answers, and it makes us a couple of times, if not more, feel on the defensive. You don't have to answer to your siblings. You don't have to answer to other relatives. You only have to answer to yourself. And in the context of caring for someone else, you can't do more than you can do. That's all you can do. So when we think ahead to setting priorities, that's not easy for everybody. We kind of feel like we have this giant list of I got to do this, 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 and this, but it's hard for me to not do first in, first out, or first come, first serve. So one of the things you literally can do is take a piece of paper and even take a calendar and decide what are the things that have to happen and in what order do they have to happen, and is there anything I can do to kind of combine things. So for instance, if you still have kids, can you be in any kind of a carpool with other families? Does that save some trips because you're helping one another? Same thing for babysitting or something like that. Even with COVID restrictions, in a small group. Are you able to do things like with church? Maybe your spiritual world is important, but it's getting more and more difficult to go to live services. Can you do live stream? Can you find those services on your computer and still get that sense of spiritual connection, but without having to, deal with traffic in the car and getting ready and having coverage for someone else? Are you able to drop some of the things that you might have enjoyed doing and might have been able to do, but are a little bit more of a challenge now? One of those is even volunteering. And I hate to say that we can't volunteer because so many organizations need volunteers. But for many, the COVID restrictions alone are limiting the access that volunteers will have. This may be a time that you're going to have to say, I can't help this season, but I'll sure be back as soon as I can. Or I'll help in a different way. I just can't physically be there. Are there ways for you to combine errands? I know myself, I try to do a lot of things on my way to and from work. Stopping at the gas station, dealing with groceries, getting stamps at the post office. Whatever those little errands are, the little time sucks that take 10, 15 minutes each. See if you can combine those on some other trips that you have and get all in one efforts to save some time later on. Pay attention to the signals that you have. If you're feeling headaches, if you're feeling nervous, that stressed out feeling, if you're having stomach ailments, your stomach hurts, you're having digestive problems, you're not able to fall asleep, you're not able to stay asleep, those would be some triggers that your body is trying to tell you something's not right. You're overdoing. So that gives you a chance, again, to turn down that dial and set some different priorities for yourself. It may mean you have to start pulling back and focus on the things that you've identified as the most important to you and to the family member that you're caring for or about. So we were talking about the holidays, thinking ahead to the holidays. That is probably one of the most stressful times for many people, even in the best of times. So when we think ahead to the holidays, what are some of the things that may stress you in past years and you simply don't want to have to deal with them now? One of them, for a lot of people, is just the whole idea of greeting cards anymore. So maybe this is the year you're going to stop sending the greeting cards, stop all those envelopes and addresses and postage, and you're going to say, hey, I may send some e-cards, I may send some e-greetings, I may do some phone calls to people, but I'm going to do away with all those cards. You might make a donation to a charity and say that I've made this donation in honor of my friends and family, and they'll usually have a template or something at holiday time that you can use to send to your folks electronically, and that way give up, again, that sense of responsibility to have to send greeting cards. Can you think about the actual events of the holidays that you do with family and friends? This may be a year because of COVID that you're not going to have all those events, the big family dinners, the friend get-togethers, the parties, or you're going to scale back. So if your family still wants to get together, but you don't want the big to-do, and you have to have some limits because of, again, restrictions, and you want more social distancing, and people are going to agree to wear masks, but you want smaller groups, then maybe you're going to say, let each of our families provide an entree and a dessert or a salad. So you're going to share that responsibility. You may meet at a place other than someone's home. You might find a place that has a indoor area, a lot of apartment buildings, community centers, or one of you may have a home that can accommodate, and you'll all be responsible enough for social distancing. And I heard about a new ad yesterday, where the campaign, which is just wear the darn mask, stop all this back and forth. So your family will make your decisions that work for you, but those family dinners and family parties can certainly be turned down or scaled down, if you will. You can decide this is a year we're not going to do gifts. It's just too much to go shopping and deal with all the wrapping and all the germs and the paper and getting everything together. You may say, hey, let's do gifts, but only for the youngest and the oldest. So the youngest and the oldest get gifts. The rest of you agree not to do it. And you just celebrate your family and spending time together. You may find that this is a year you're going to buy some things instead of making all the food. We all have holiday traditions, holiday recipes. So there may be that sense that each family can make something, or you're going to finally buy some other things. And it may not be exactly like grandma's, or it may not be like yours, but it may save you some time and some stress. So when we're saving time, we're really saving stress. When you want to get together with family, but you don't feel you can physically get together, can you use some of the technology services today, like Zoom, where you could have 4 or 5 or 10 families on the same call? Can you do some FaceTime where you wish each other well and maybe you share some stories of past holidays, but you're not there all in the same home, you're not traveling on the highway, you're not dealing with meals, that kind of thing. So what are some new solutions you can have just for this year while we're all dealing with COVID that will not add to the stress that you have? And I think those are some easier ones that really will save a lot of time. Can you outsource anything right now? We've talked in our past programs about, can you get your bills set up so they're paid online? You're not dealing with paper, you're not dealing with stamps. You're able to have some opportunity then to make sure all your bills are paid in a timely manner. You might even set up some to be automatically paid. Your mortgage may be the same each month. Your rent may be the same each month. So if that's the case, those would be the kinds of things that you could easily set up. You may also set up, for your bill paying, that you have things that are electronic receipts. So we've talked before about any of your medical claims, your insurance claims, all those kinds of things. If you set it up electronically, you won't even have to deal with all that mail. It's all there. You can see it when you want it. You can see your bank statements when you want them, and you can just dismiss all that paper, if you will. Some of the things you can think about when, again, resourcing or outsourcing, I should say, would be, can you get your groceries online? We've said you can order from almost any grocery store and do curbside pickup. You've got Amazon, Walmart, Target, all these big box stores that you can order items, and not just groceries. If you're a caregiver and you need any kind of medical supplies, if you need incontinence supplies, if you need Boost, Ensure, any of those supplements, all of those can be ordered online and shipped right to your house. You might even find that your insurance company is going to be able to help pay. So that's something. Now, the other thing you might think about then is, what else can I order online? Well, one of the biggest ones for us, and something we should all think about, is your medications. So you may be able to get that 90-day supply. You may have a health insurance program that will have automatic renewal. That gives you that opportunity then. You're not going to the pharmacy every month. You're not even going every 3 months. It's sent to you. Some of the pharmacies that are aligned with insurance companies may even do the little pouch, so that if you take 3, 4, 5, 6 different things, it's in a little pouch. Each pouch has a time on it. So you're not having to fuss with all those pill boxes, if you will, for yourself or for your loved one. So that's something to think about. Whatever you can outsource and get online. Maybe your car needs to be serviced. You may find an auto repair or an auto service shop or a dealership that will pick your car up at your house, take care of whatever is needed, and deliver it back to you. That can save you right there 1, 2, 3, or 4 hours just dealing with car maintenance. Is there something that you can do to take care of other services that you may need? Maybe you have a dental appointment, eye appointment. Is there anything that you can do before the holidays and the snow hits. We talked about that last week. Is there any medical appointment that can be done via telemedicine? And is there something that you can do at a local like Minute Clinic or one of those places, so you're not having to go into the big medical buildings? Whatever the case, do not delay medical care for yourself, most importantly. Now, one of the things I also wanted to get into, and then we're up in point number 4, is find out about those available resources that can help you. And we've also covered this in past programs. If you're looking for help as a caregiver for your loved one in your caregiving experience for someone in the home and you don't know who to call 211 on your phone. 911 is for emergencies. 411 is that information to get when we want someone's phone number. But 211 is all across the United States in every county, and it gives us access to information and referral. And that is the number you can call in addition to reaching out to your local senior center or your local office on aging to find out what's available to you, even unique to your own neighborhood. Some areas, and I live here in northeastern Ohio in a suburb, our seniors can get their driveway plowed in the winter for free, but they have to know about it. They may get mulching supplies for free. They may have some other services. There are some of the services outside Greater Cleveland that have chore service, where they're helping with screens on your house and painting and minor home repairs. You may have some home health care services available through your community, transportation services. So find out about those and see if there is any eligibility for you or your loved one. And that's really an important one, because especially if you're today, with so many of us being over 65, we need to take advantage of anything that is a service that would be free, if you will, or at least at low cost, including, and I didn't mention this, home delivered meals. Home delivered meals. That's important for some. Now, and I'm sorry, but I'm looking at a note here. Here we go. Next thing that I think is really important is to learn to say no. And I struggle with this one sometimes myself. Learn how to say no, but offer an alternative. I learned from one of my mentors years ago that whenever you have to say no to someone, that's a tough thing. And you sometimes will say yes when you really want to say no because you feel bad. But if you can learn how to say no and offer an alternative, it may be a win-win. So let's give a couple of examples. I can't make the raffle baskets for the event this year, but I can buy 10 tickets. I can't attend the event this year like I have in the past, but I can help promote it on social media. I'll be sure to share the posts. I'll be happy to make some phone calls. I can't do this, but I can do that. I can't do this, but I can do that. So let's think about that. It may be that you have a lot of requests from community groups. Maybe you've been very involved, church groups, youth groups, school events. If you feel that those demands are going to be kind of putting you over the edge or adding to that stress that you feel, then this is the time you may have to say, I must say no. I can't do that, but I can do this. And see that, try that. Do a little science experiment and see if that doesn't work for you in some way. The next thing you want to think about is taking care of your own health. As a caregiver, if you don't take care of your own health, the person you're caring for and caring about may not have the supports and the care that you would like and want them to have. So, of course, you have to eat right. You have to drink plenty of fluids. Many of us, particularly women, can have dehydration and not even realize it, especially in the winter when the dry air is already, causing a havoc with our skin. So make sure you're not going to have dehydration and you're not going to be at risk of a urinary tract infection because you get so busy during the day you forget to drink. So if you're a water drinker, get that water bottle, water jug. I'm a soft drink drinker. I have it right there. Whatever it is, make sure you're fueling your body, because not only does that fluid, of course, help us with everything that would be obvious, but it's helping you to get the energy you need. Your body has to have fluid for so many reasons, not just our skin, if you will. So you need fluid. Now, if you need to have health care, remember what we said a few moments back, and that is Could you use telemedicine? There are all kinds of services today. And if you have group health insurance, you've probably gotten some pamphlets or mailings about them. There's, call a nurse, 24-hour nurse lines. Most hospitals even offer those. Your insurance may also have a physician's program where you can have telehealth visits right from your phone or through your iPad or computer, whatever you have. You may also be able to use some of these drugstore type clinics at a much lower cost or even a free cost, because anytime you don't go to the emergency room, the urgent care, or the big medical building, you're saving your insurer an expense that they would have. And so, it's kind of a win-win there. So think about ways to do that. Make sure that you're not neglecting your own appointments. So if you needed a physical, if you needed a mammogram, if you needed any other kind of routine test, including an eye test and what have you, go ahead and try to take care of that so that you are not going to be, struggling, if you will. And again, if you're not fit, if you're not feeling well, it could have a bearing then on the ability you have to help care for someone else. Be sure to get a flu shot this year. There are some people who just don't believe in the flu shot. I hear that all the time. I never get a flu shot. It gave me the flu, all these kinds of things. But this is the year that you really want to think twice about that. The flu is very deadly and it kills a lot of people. So this year, COVID is a big unknown to us, but the flu isn't so much an unknown. So at least learn, get some information that you feel comfortable with, ask your physician, and then make that decision about your flu shot. And if you do typically get one, or you do decide to get one this year, think about getting it a little bit earlier and ask your medical advisor their opinion on that. I know I typically don't get mine until later, but this year I'm going to get it earlier. So you make your own decisions. The next thing you want to think about then is find something that you can escape to. And that for some people is really hard, taking time for ourselves, if you will. And the way you want to do that is you want to say, can I find just a few minutes to have a cup of coffee on my porch or in my sunroom or at the kitchen table? Is there a time for me to take a bath just to relax? And maybe you've got, special shower gels or bath gels or whatever that you can find that 15, 20, or 30 minutes. Can you listen to a favorite type of music, even if you have to go outside in the driveway and do it in your car? Can you just sit with a glass of wine and enjoy something, again, a momentary pleasure? Can you make a phone call to a friend, somebody that would understand, somebody that might even be a family member, just so you can have a connection with another person that is outside the whole caregiving experience, so you can have, again, that little escape, if you will. If you have a hobby, can you find some time for that hobby? Even an hour may be enough for you if you enjoy a hobby. And it could be painting. It could be that you are drawn back to cooking. I hear so many people today saying, I am cooking like a fiend. I'm back to baking. I had gotten away from it. All those cooking shows that we used to watch on the Food Network and what have you, those chefs right now are all doing videos on YouTube or on Facebook and these private channels so that they can help people that are at home who just need an escape and they love cooking, and so they're helping do that. So that's something. Can you find an escape in a particular type of exercise? It could be for some that it's walking. You might want to take the dog for a walk. I see with my husband so many people now taking advantage of the local park system. That may be a place that not only can you get exercise, but you can escape. You can enjoy nature. You can get some fresh air. And that oxygen is very rejuvenating for us in terms of energy. It's not just getting outside the house. It's something that helps us from a health perspective. Can you do something like, this is a popular one right now, I just heard on the news, binge watching. So people that are getting those copies of old TV shows that they used to watch and loved, haven't seen them in a while, or they're catching up on something that they meant to finish the whole series and didn't. So is there a couple of programs that maybe you've missed or you want to see, and now you can kind of dedicate some time, one evening or even in the middle of the night when you can't sleep, to binge watching? We're not able to go to the movies like we used to. You may find that for you, it's something that if you're a cook or a baker, enjoy that time, and then that may give you extra benefit of being able to freeze some items that you'll use as you need them, if you will. Make a beauty shop appointment or a barber appointment if you're able to do that where you live. If that's something that you feel you neglected your personal self and you need a manicure, a pedicure, a new hairdo, a haircut, try to see if you can't take that time for yourself. And you may have someone else who can help you in the caregiving situation while you do that again. If others are offering help to you, you have to learn to say yes. So just as we were learning to say no, we have to learn to say yes. So take advantage of that person who says, hey, can I come and sit with Joe for you so you can get out? Say yes, absolutely. He would love it. Can I come and do your grocery shopping for you? Can I help with some laundry or some housework? Yes, absolutely. And part of when you were setting priorities might be that you've said, I'm going to let a few things go. My house doesn't have to be picture perfect right now. My caregiving is the most important thing to me. Having time for that, having time with my loved one. I'm going to let some other things go because, again, they're more want versus need, as we talked about. And then I think we have to think about that phrase that I know many of us heard from the Bible, and whether you're a Bible person or not, that phrase is, this too shall pass. COVID is now. COVID is serious. We're all feeling the effects of it, but it is not going to last forever. So this tough time is one that we will get through. And I take that lesson from many of our residents at our Lantern communities. They've been through major world disasters. I don't think we have anyone right now that was involved with the Spanish influenza, but they were certainly involved with World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, polio, some of these things that really affected our whole nation, just like now they've lived through, and they had the fortitude to get through them. And also they knew that this too shall pass. So all we can do is the best that we can do. That's all we can do, and realize there isn't more than 24 hours in a day. And I think then if you still are feeling stressed, you have those physical triggers that we talked about that are saying, I just can't do this. I'm not sleeping. I'm not feeling well. Then maybe it is time to seek a little more professional help. So in all states, if you are part of a group health insurance plan, that plan does cover some mental health services. Could mean an assessment. It could mean some telemedicine visits. It could mean some one-on-one visits with a counselor. So find out what your insurance may cover and seek it out. If you don't have insurance or aren't able to use that insurance in that way, there are so many support groups out there today, and many of them are online. So if I'm a caregiver and I'm struggling, I can find them on Facebook. I can find them on different other social media platforms that I can go to and make comments and read from others, or I can be in live support groups that are even 24 hours a day. There are many groups that I could just go to in the middle of the night if it's a night I'm not sleeping. So get on that computer, do a little Google research. If you have a problem, you can call me, and I'll be happy to help you personally. But the idea being to do that research to give yourself the connection to those professional and social supports. When you're in a support group, it's not about pouring out your guts and hearing everybody else's story. And sometimes people say, well, they're just going to one-up me. I'm going to talk about my situation and they'll give me their story as if it's worse than my own. It's more about, by listening to others, you're not alone. You may find some helpful suggestions that get you through a difficult situation that you're experiencing, and it gives us hope. We know that there are some solutions. There are some, people that, again, I can call on. Most times in a support group, you make some friends, and those friends and friendships and relationships may help you when you have a really tough moment. So I hope tonight we've given you some beginning ideas on how we can combat caregiver stress and caregiver fatigue. COVID isn't going away soon, but we may sometimes even feel powerless about what's coming. We don't know about vaccines. We don't know what's going to be happening, but we do know that there are some things we can do to help ourselves. And by helping yourself, you're helping your loved one. So take a look at, some of what we've said. Come back and listen to this again. You realize you can only do what you can do. There is no more than 24 hours in a day. You should not feel guilty about saying no. In fact, you should learn how to do it. You should be able to set priorities that work for you, outsource what you can, find out about resources that you can use when you can, let others help you, and take that time for yourself so that you are the best that you can be as we get through this whole thing day by day. So I appreciate you tuning in tonight. As I said earlier, the program is recorded. We welcome your comments, your suggestions. In the next few weeks, we have some really good speakers coming. We're going to be talking about spirituality. We have a few other attorneys coming on. It's a very popular subject. And have a few other community organizations that are coming to talk to us. And these are programs, if you will, that are available all over the United States. So it's not just here in Northeast Ohio. I thank you again for tuning in each and every week. This is National Assisted Living Week, so if you're involved with an assisted living community, please take advantage of any programs that they're making available to you this week, and it may be more virtual than not. And make sure you give them a cheer, if you will, and a thank you for all they do for your loved one. I also want to say that, going forward, we are looking at a name change for this program. The programs that we have at each community are very popular, but we are thinking about rebranding them a little bit more to the Lantern Lifestyle name, and I think that's a good idea. So look for that soon as time marches forward. And again, we thank you for tuning in tonight. I look forward to speaking with you again next week, and until then, I send you my best for today and always.